Hi. In this module, this training module for the Gießen coffee roasters, I'm so happy to be able to focus on some topics that will really help you to have a great, long-lasting experience with your machine. And there are various practical topics we will do in this module. First of all, one of my favorite themes, and that's cleaning. The importance of cleaning cannot be emphasized enough. Then we will also look at some common issues why roasters are getting stuck in the use of their machine. For example, when the emergency stop is triggered and you're trying to solve this, and we'll give you some tips for that. Also, we will review some of the alarms that the machine can give and how to deal with this. We're going to look at ducting, what type of ducting can work, and then some general tips for moving your machine, putting it into place, uncrating it before then, and getting the right electrical setup. So let's get started. This is a really important module for various practical reasons. First topic, really important, cleaning. Cleaning. You cannot clean your machine diligently enough and with the right frequency in order to maintain the consistency of your flavor profiles. Here at Boot Coffee, we have this beautiful W6, and we let her get a little bit dirtier than normal. So we on purpose prepared this machine for this video. And we're going to review a few steps that are essential for cleaning. First of all, for cleaning, it's important to maintain the machine from the inside, to maintain it after every roasting session, every day, or if it's one time per week, then you do this weekly. But you must clean your machine thoroughly after every individual roasting session. That includes, of course, the chaff being one important one. And why is it so important to keep up with this? Is because the chaff collector by itself requires attention, but also the other components of the machine, like the cooling tray. And then there are areas of the Gießen where debris will start collecting, and that will gradually restrict the airflow through the machine. And if your airflow changes, then your heat transfer changes, then your roasting profiles change, and then the flavor of the coffee gradually starts wandering off. And this is why this is so essential. So as a first step, I'm going to start with the part that is the more challenging part, and that's here, the cooling screen. So I'm going to invite my buddy Marcus, the campus director of Boot Coffee, to assist me with this specific task. So here's Marcus Young, our campus director. He's also an expert in roasting and related issues, and he's going to help me deal with some of the explanation around this important topic of cleaning.
Yep, I'm excited to get into this. We've got a little bit of build up on our roaster. So I have some tools here. I have my brush, my paleo brush for cleaning the cooling tray. We have some additional brushes for inside the chaff collector, in our exhaust system, all important Allen keys so we can access some pieces and parts. Your Gießen roaster comes with this very important key. Don't lose it. It helps you access most of the internal components. And in a moment, we'll also have to do some initial cleaning. We'll put to use our Ernex roaster cleaner and the towel and some elbow grease to take care of some of the buildup that we have here on our machine. This definitely helps with the elbow grease.
Yeah. And that's not elbows like this, but that's other type of elbows. Yeah.
Perfect.
So shall we do the cooling screen first?
Yeah, let's just run this through, clear any built up chaff coffee particles, anything that's been captured.
Because Marcus, this is typically where, because of the oils of the coffee with the chaff and coffee particulates, will really, you get a gooey mass, right? After it roast for a while, yeah.
It gets gooey. The holes here start to just become clogged and blocked, so it'll slow your cooling times. But if this is the kind of thing that you do, really anytime you clean your chaff collector, just took me a minute, you saw, just run this over it. You can do a much more thorough cleaning at the end of the day or according to your cleaning cycles.
And some clients do this also with an air compressor, where they really blow out these holes with a powerful jet of air.
Yeah. So whatever really works for you. You do have to kind of move the stirring arm around so that you can reach all of the places.
Shall we?
This looks a lot better.
Yeah. Shall we show them how we clean the cooling screen? Because this is kind of a monthly activity, depending on how many hours you roast. But if you roast within a month more than 100 hours, then I definitely would do this monthly. And this is important because there's a lot of debris that starts to develop under your cooling screen and inside. And before you do this, put some coffee bags on the ground, on the floor,
or so a piece of cardboard, just anything to protect it.
Because there's some gears with the basin at the bottom of the cooling screen, and you want to protect those.
Exactly. And I just want to say, I recommend pulling this tray to clean underneath the screen before you get in here with a solvent and a detergent. Because if I were to start spraying right now, that's just going to make a sticky, gooey, muddy mess underneath my tray. So I kind of actually do the spraying as a final step.
Yeah.
Let's see, our Allen key?
Yeah. Where is our Allen key? There. Yeah.
So back here on your Gießen, there's two small pinch bolts. I'm just loosening mine. Typically, we just keep these thumb tight. There's really no reason to crank them down. So often I can just loosen them with my fingers. Now this is quite heavy, and if you drop it, it will dent and hurt you perhaps.
Okay, 1, 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And then wow, look at this.
It is due.
This was a good timing. Yes. So here you can see all the stuff that collects. And if I raise these two flaps, then I get access to the chaff collector. The chaff collector channels the roast exhaust air with the chaff. So before I do that, I really want to clean this here.
Clean it while it's up top, accessible before we drop it.
With a vacuum cleaner.
Yep.
I don't think we have to explain you how to use a vacuum cleaner, but having a good vacuum cleaner in your shop is helpful. I will just show it, the one we use here at Boot Coffee Campus for reference. I'll pull it over here. So this is a 5 horsepower chop vac, and I think this one will also be somewhat, it can handle wet stuff also, I believe.
Yep.
And
it depends on the filter. We have a dry filter in here, but it works great. Yeah, this capacity is 4 gallons, or what, that's about 16 liters, 15 liters.
Yeah.
So enough capacity that we don't have to empty the vacuum constantly.
So let's briefly run this. So I have a connection here. Very noisy.
3, 2, 1.
Look at the inside of this cooling tray. A lot of debris. There's chaff. So this must be cleaned out. And at this stage, if you're now really want to deep clean your screen, look on this side, the screen also gets glued up. Then this is a good time to do it, not while the cooling screen sits on the roaster. So cleaning this out will really help you. My recommendation again is to do this monthly, also depending on your roasting hours, but monthly is the same. So when it comes to cleaning, first make sure you inspect the cleanliness of this drawer, which captures debris that falls through the between the drum and the faceplate, and keeping this clean really helps. Then, secondly, when you have your cooling screen removed, remove these flaps, and they will give you direct access to the chaff collector. But again, that's a monthly type of thing. And now it's time to focus on the chaff collector. The chaff collector has two openings, on this side and on the other side. This is where I use my key. So I'll open this, and as a first step, I'll use my vacuum cleaner to clean all the debris that sits loose out. Then, once I have done that, then I take this big brush and I'm going to scrape as much as possible the inside of this chaff collector. You know, and this is the type of debris I can still find as a result. And there are some corners that are harder to reach, and I can use this brush for that purpose as well. After which, you again take your vacuum cleaner and you remove that debris. And this has to be done after every roasting session. This is so key, because if you do not keep up with this cleaning, then gradually your roaster will start changing roasting profiles, and that's not a good thing. And you will create a fire hazard for your company and for your community potentially. So this is really very important. So once you are sure that your chaff collector is fully clean, now you have to start thinking about more periodic maintenance to make sure that the debris inside your roaster is removed. And this is something I recommend to do, again, depending on your roaster hours, every 2 quarters, every half year, or every year, but most likely every half year. This would really help you. And this is a little bit more laborious. It's basically you remove this hopper. For that, you can unscrew these bolts, and that gives you access to the hot air return pipe, which sits here in top of the machine. And using your vacuum cleaner to clean that out really helps. And in addition to that, I want to mention that inside the chaff collector, there is the pipe that is connected with the hot air return channel. That pipe also has to be cleaned, which also should be done monthly. Wow, so it sounds very confusing, right? So I'm just going to summarize with you again. Daily, in terms of cleaning your chaff collector and that drawer. Monthly, your cooler, take it off under the cooler. You clean this area out. Every 2 quarters, take your hopper off, do a deep cleaning of your hot air return piping. And then, as well as every month, at least a deep cleaning of the piping that sits inside your chaff collector and that connects to the hot air return piping. And now I'm going to give you some other tips related to ducting and how you can also design your ducting in order to keep it clean. So let's look at the design of this ducting and also at the materials we used. Here at Boot Coffee Campus, we have double-walled stainless steel piping provided by Selkirk. And this is double-walled stainless steel, so it's heat resistant to a very high level, to, I believe, to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which helps the exhaust system sustain fires or the results of fires. Also look at the minimal number of bends we have In general, I recommend to have less than 3 90-degree bends. Plus, also look at the fact that we have at the end of that horizontal pipe, we have a clean out point where a vacuum cleaner can easily enter into. Another topic are the alarms on the Gießen roasters and how to deal with them. And here in the US, because we have UL requirements, there are certain switches that are on this machine which the European version might not have, but I want to point them out because they can lead to somewhat a little bit of annoying interruptions in your operation if you're not aware of that. Here on this side of the machine and on this side, there are 2 different switches that can trigger an alarm and that can actually stop the functioning of the machine or parts of the functioning. And that's here, this emergency switch on that side. Then on the other side, there is a opening door where I get access to the chaff collector. If that's partially open, then that will also trigger an alarm. So here, this emergency stop, this is for UL certified machines, which is a standard here in the US. If I hit this, then the cooler steer arm will stop. So this is a safety device to protect the operator or someone who erroneously sticks his hand in there to be protected. And then also if I leave this door open after cleaning, it will trigger another alarm. And I'm going to demonstrate this now so that you can see how to deal with alarms on your machine. And so if I open this, it now triggers this alarm, and we will very quickly see an alarm displayed on our operator panel. And the same if I do this. So here I'm just simulating a situation where you have an alarm on your machine. You can review your manual for the types of alarms you can get on a Gießen. So the way to deal with this, like right now, there's the emergency stop alarm, and I would first acknowledge it here, and then I would, if there would be a beeping sound going on, I would hit F1, and then in some cases, you'll have to reset the machine with the reset button, which is a blue button on the right side of this console. On bigger Gießens, it's in different places. So let me reset it there. And I acknowledge again. And now, of course, I need to reset my emergency stop button, which was on purpose triggered for this purpose. And now I go again through the reset button, and now I hear kind of an acknowledgement. So now I'm ready again for action. So now I should be able to start up my roasting and continue with my session. So getting ready to receive and unpack and installing your new Gießen is a very, very exciting time. And I would like to give some tips for how to get ready for that in a useful manner. First, the aspect of site preparation. In collaboration with your Gießen agent or salesperson, I recommend that you really go through an effort of planning how to install the Gießen. Make sure you are aware of all the requirements regarding gas or regarding electrics and regarding exhaust piping and regarding the weight load of your roaster on your floor. And that you also start thinking about how to get that machine into your facility, how to move it around, and how to install it adequately. So planning this effort in collaboration with a contractor can be very important. You might also have to have an electrician involved, and if your machine is gas powered, most machines are, you should have a gas fitter. So, there's quite a few pieces of this puzzle. the most common mistake is that you think that you can do it all, because often that leads to disappointments, and so I recommend to involve some pros in this effort. In terms of getting ready for operation, you must be aware what type of permitting requirements your local authorities might apply for your type of operation. This is an issue in many places in the Western world, and also nowadays in Africa that can be an issue, or in Asia. And so understanding the permitting is really important. First and for all, what type of environmental permits are required, if any. Typically, smaller gisens under 15 kilo are not really required for any permits. But again, if you are in a heavily populated area, let's say in Seoul or in New York or in Amsterdam, that might be different. You might also have health codes that are an issue. And there are areas in the world, like here in the US, there are counties within California, for example, that require very specific certifications of the machine by itself. So these are all tricky things. So permitting is important. Then when the machine arrives with a logistics company, prepare on how to uncrate and unpack your roaster. I would recommend to involve the services of a moving company that is, for example, experienced with moving around and unpacking pianos or similar large pieces of furniture and instruments that are heavy. Coffee roasters are top heavy, meaning that the point of gravity does not lie in the base, but it lies in the middle of the machine where the drum is. And trust me, I've had my own share of experiences, and I got some extra gray hairs related to the moving of roasting machines. And then when you're getting ready for your initial firing, so once you have your gas in place, your electrics in place, and all of that, then you're getting ready for your initial firing. And then it might be good to really think about how to prime the roaster drum and the internal channels, because there will be still some dust and stuff, debris inside that can be collecting during transportation. Gießen typically tests roasts with your machine, but in not all cases that will fully prime the machine. So using a lower grade coffee for priming and roasting the coffee to a slightly darker degree will help you prime it. You should be able to accomplish this within 1 to 2 roasts. And then, last but not least, I also want to make a very specific comment regarding the operation voltage of your machines. So voltage requirements are different around the world. Here in the US, we typically operate on 208 volts. However, the Gießen machines are typically appreciate 230 volts at the minimum. So this, as a fact, we know if your voltage is low, then the machine can intermittently have hiccups and issues in how it operates. So having a good coordination with your Gießen salesperson and with the technicians at Gießen really helps to ensure that the voltage is there. Also here in the US, this is different from Europe or from other parts of the world. The electrical installation must have a ground and a neutral separately from each other. This is different from how it's done in Europe, for example. So again, preparing yourself for that really helps. And then by the time you've done your initial firing, then it's a good time to get trained. You can train yourself and your staff through some of the videos we've been producing here at GießenCoffeeRoasters.eu. And that is, for now, this module with the general topics relating to how to get the most joy out of the use of your roaster and how to start up your Gießen in a planned way. Good luck.